Professor had worked at Orion Academy for 40 years. He had studied over 300 different alien species. He had seen creatures made of gas, beings made of crystal, and life forms that existed as pure energy. He thought nothing in the universe could surprise him anymore. He was wrong. The day the humans arrived changed everything. Stood in the arrival hall with his tablet, waiting for the new exchange students from Earth. The Terran integration program was new. Earth had only made contact with the galactic community 5 years ago. This was the first time human students would study at an alien academy. The transport ship landed with a soft hum. The doors opened, watched carefully as 5 humans walked out. They looked so fragile, soft skin, no scales, no protective shells, no extra limbs, just 2 arms, 2 legs, and those strange flat faces with only 2 eyes. Wondered how such weak creatures had survived on their planet. One human caught his attention, a young female with black hair and dark eyes. She walked with quiet steps. When she saw, she stopped and bent her body forward slightly. "Hello, Professor," she said. Her voice was soft. "My name is Park. Thank you for welcoming us." Blinked all 4 of his eyes. The gesture she made was strange but seemed respectful. He checked his tablet. Park, age 22, student of biology, no criminal record, no medical issues. She seemed completely ordinary. "Welcome to Orion Academy," said. "I will be your orientation guide. Please follow me." The humans followed him through the academy halls. They looked around with wide eyes at the floating lights, the transparent walls, and the hundreds of alien students passing by. A group of students walked past. They were tall, nearly 3 meters, with blue skin and 6 arms. The humans stared. "Do not worry," said. "You will get used to it." Nodded. She did not seem scared, just curious. The first week was busy, had many tasks. He had to register the humans for classes. He had to assign them rooms. He had to explain the academy rules. But his most important job was food. The galactic cafeteria served meals for over 200 species. Every dish was scanned and approved. Every ingredient was checked for toxins. The system had worked perfectly for centuries. No student had ever been poisoned. But humans were new. Nobody knew what they could eat. Earth had sent a food database. Spent 3 days studying it. The list was simple: rice, vegetables, something called tofu, bread, fruit. All the items seemed safe and boring. Set up his scanner in the food laboratory. He tested every sample Earth had provided. The scanner hummed softly as it analyzed each item. Rice safe, no toxins detected. Vegetables safe, basic nutrients only. Tofu safe, simple protein structure. Everything was clean, everything was harmless. Felt disappointed. He had hoped humans would be more interesting. He called to the laboratory for a meeting. "I have completed my analysis," he told her. "Your species has very simple dietary needs." Sat across from him. She was eating something from a small container. It looked like white rice with some vegetables. "Simple?" she asked. She smiled a little. "Yes, I suppose this is simple." "Is there something wrong with the food we provided?" asked. "No, Professor, it is fine." She took another bite. "This is the diplomatic version." Tilted his head. His neck extended slightly, a sign of confusion in his species. "Diplomatic version? I do not understand." Put down her chopsticks. These were thin sticks that humans used to pick up food. Found them primitive but fascinating. "When humans meet new species," explained, "we are careful. We do not want to cause problems, so we show you our safest foods, the foods that will not surprise you." "Surprise us how?" Paused. She seemed to think carefully about her words. "Human food can be strong. Some of our dishes might seem strange to other species. So Earth sent you the gentle version, the version that will not cause trouble." Wrote notes on his tablet. This was interesting. "What is the difference between your gentle food and your normal food?" The gentle food has no flavor, said simply. It is fuel, nothing more. Real human food is different. It has history. It has culture. It has. She searched for the right word. Fire. Fire, you cook with fire. Laughed softly. It was a pleasant sound. Not that kind of fire, Professor. I mean the food itself feels like fire, on your tongue, in your stomach. It wakes you up. It makes you feel alive. Did not understand. Food was nutrition. Food was energy. Food was not supposed to make you feel anything. Can you show me this real food? He asked. Shook her head. I do not think that is a good idea, Professor. The last time humans shared real food with aliens, there were problems. What kind of problems? Medical problems. She picked up her chopsticks again. 3 diplomatic teams ended up in the hospital. After that, Earth decided to keep our food separate. Stared at her, this small, soft, fragile human. She looked so harmless. Her food looked so harmless. But something in her eyes told him there was more to the story. I see, he said finally. Well, for now, please continue eating from the approved list. We do not want any accidents. Of course, Professor, bowed her head slightly. I will be very careful. She finished her meal and left the laboratory. Watched her go. He looked down at his tablet at the simple food analysis results. Safe, harmless, boring. He had a feeling that these words would not describe humans for long. 3 weeks passed without problems. The human students attended their classes. They ate their approved meals. They made friends with curious alien students. Everything seemed normal. Park woke up late on a Tuesday morning. She had studied until midnight for her xenobiology exam. Her alarm had not worked properly. She jumped out of bed and rushed to get ready. Her roommate was unnamed. There were small creatures with soft purple fur and large eyes that could see in the dark. Was shy and nervous about everything, especially her strange human roommate. You are late, said. Her voice was high and squeaky. I know, grabbed her bag. She checked her food container. Empty. She had forgotten to pack her approved lunch the night before. What will you eat? Asked. Opened her storage box. Inside was a thermal container her mother had sent from Earth. It was supposed to be for emergencies only, for days when she really missed home. Today felt like that kind of day. I will eat this, said. She put the container in her bag. Looked worried. Is that from the approved list? It is from my mother, said. It will be fine. She rushed out the door before could ask more questions. The morning classes went quickly. Took her exam and felt confident about her answers. By lunchtime, she was starving. She walked to the cafeteria with her bag over her shoulder. The Galactic cafeteria was enormous. It had hundreds of tables and dozens of food stations. Each station served different types of meals for different species. The 8 live insects, the consumed mineral solutions, the preferred sweet fruits and soft grains. At the entrance, there was a security scanner. Every student had to pass through it. The scanner checked for weapons, toxins, and dangerous materials. It also scanned all food to make sure it was safe. Walked through the scanner without thinking. She did this every day. The machine usually beeped softly and let her pass. Today was different. The scanner made a loud noise, not a beep, a scream. A high-pitched alarm that hurt everyone's ears. Red lights flashed across the ceiling. Students looked up from their meals in shock. Then the scanner caught fire. Smoke poured from the machine. Sparks flew in all directions. The screen cracked and turned black. The alarm kept screaming until the whole machine collapsed into a pile of melting metal and burning wires. Students ran in every direction. Some screamed. Some hid under tables. A group of security guards rushed into the cafeteria with emergency equipment. In the middle of all this chaos, stood completely still. She held her thermal container in one hand and her chopsticks in the other. She looked at the destroyed scanner with confusion. What happened? She asked no one in particular. Professor arrived 5 minutes later. He pushed through the crowd of frightened students. When he saw standing beside the smoking remains of the scanner, his 4 eyes went wide. "Park," he said, his voice was shaking. "What did you do?" "I did not do anything," said. "I just walked through the scanner like always." "The scanner is destroyed." "I can see that." Looked at the container in her hands. Red liquid dripped from the edges. Something inside smelled strong and spicy. His nose burned just from standing near it. "What is that?" he whispered. Looked down at her lunch. "Kimchi, it is a stew. My mother made it. She added extra because she knows I like it spicy." Did not know what any of those words meant. He pulled out his tablet and tried to access the scanner's last reading before it died. The data made no sense. The scanner had detected a chemical compound called capsaicin. The levels were so high that the system had classified it as a Class 4 chemical weapon. The machine had tried to process this information, but could not understand how a weapon was inside a food container. The contradiction had caused a system failure. "This compound," said slowly, "capsaicin, it is a chemical weapon." Blinked, "It is pepper." "Pepper?" "Yes, red pepper. We put it in food to make it taste good." Felt dizzy. His species did not feel dizzy often, but this moment was special. "You put chemical weapons in your food," he said, "to make it taste good." "It is not a weapon," said. She sounded a little annoyed. "It is a spice. Humans have been eating it for thousands of years." A security guard approached them. "Professor, we need to contain this situation. Should we quarantine the human?" "Quarantine?" Looked offended. "It is just lunch." Held up his hand. "Wait, let me think." He looked at the destroyed scanner. He looked at the small human woman with her container of red stew. He looked at his tablet with its impossible readings. "Take the food to the laboratory," he said finally. "Put it in a containment unit. We need to study it." "And the human?" the guard asked. Sighed, "The human will come with me. We have many questions." Closed her container with a sad expression. "I did not even get to eat it." "You can eat later," said. "First, you need to explain how your species survived eating chemical weapons for thousands of years." As they walked out of the cafeteria, looked back at the smoking scanner one more time. She had not meant to cause trouble. She had just wanted her mother's cooking. But trouble, it seemed, had found her anyway. The emergency panel met in the Grand Council Hall. 7 professors sat behind a long, curved table. Their faces were serious. Their eyes watched with a mix of fear and curiosity. Sat alone in the center of the room. Her lunch was displayed on a table nearby, sealed inside a clear containment unit. The red stew looked peaceful and harmless through the glass. Professor stood to speak first. 3 hours ago, a standard food scanner was destroyed in the main cafeteria. The cause was a chemical compound found in this container. He pointed at the stew. The compound is called capsaicin. Our systems classify it as a Class 4 chemical weapon. The other professors murmured among themselves. A professor, her crystal body glowing with nervous light, leaned forward. "A weapon in the cafeteria?" she asked. "How did it get past security?" "It was not a weapon," explained. "It was lunch." Silence filled the room. "Lunch," repeated an elderly professor. All 6 of his arms were crossed. "You are telling us that this human brought a chemical weapon as lunch?" Raised her hand politely. "May I speak?" The professors looked at each other, nodded. "It is not a weapon," said calmly. "It is food. My mother made it. The red color comes from which is dried red pepper. Humans eat this every day. It is completely normal for us." "Normal?" The professor sounded horrified. "This chemical causes severe pain. It burns tissue. It can stop breathing in 92% of known species. How can this be normal?" "Humans are different," said simply. "The burning feeling is part of the experience. We enjoy it." The professors stared at her like She had just said the most insane thing in the universe. The door to the council hall opened. A young human man walked in. He had messy black hair and wore a wrinkled uniform. This was a third-year engineering student. He had been called as a witness. Ah said, "Please sit. We have questions for you as well." Sat next to. He looked nervous but tried to smile. "I heard about the scanner," he whispered to her. "Bad luck." "It was my mother's recipe," whispered back. "I did not think it would cause problems." Cleared his throat. "Mister, last week you shared your lunch with a student. Is this correct?" His face went pale. Yes, but it was an accident." "An accident?" He asked to try it. He seemed curious. I did not know it would hurt him. The professor pulled up a report on his screen. The student spent 6 hours in the medical center. His internal structure showed signs of chemical burns. The doctors said he was lucky to survive. "I feel very bad about that," said quickly. "I apologized many times. I even bought him flowers. Well, I bought him the mineral rocks that like. Same idea." "What did you feed him?" asked. Looked down at his hands. "What is?" "Rice cakes in red sauce. It is street food, very common in Korea. Children eat it." "Children?" The professor's glow flickered with disbelief. "Your children eat substances that nearly killed my student." "Korean children love," added helpfully. "They eat it after school. It is a happy food." The professors went silent again. They seemed to be processing information that did not fit into their understanding of the universe. Pulled up the food database that Earth had sent. He displayed it on the large screen behind him. When Earth joined the galactic community, they provided this list of human-safe foods: rice, vegetables, basic proteins. All items were tested and approved. He turned to Anne. "Why did your government hide the truth?" And exchanged looks. "They did not hide it exactly," said carefully. "They just showed you the safe version, the version that would not cause diplomatic problems." "There have already been problems," said. 3 diplomatic delegations were hospitalized after eating human food. We found this in the classified reports." "That was before my time," said, "but I heard about it. One ambassador tried Korean fried chicken. Another one ate Thai curry. The third one," she paused, "I think he ate Mexican food, something with many peppers." "They almost died," the professor said. "They said the food was delicious," offered, "before they passed out." The council hall fell into chaos. Professors argued with each other. Some demanded that all human food be banned. Others wanted more research. One professor suggested sending the humans home immediately. Through all of this sat quietly. She looked at her sealed lunch with sad eyes. The stew was getting cold. Her mother had made it with love, adding extra spice because she knew her daughter was far from home and might need comfort. Now that comfort was being treated like a dangerous weapon. Finally, raised his hand for silence. "We will not make decisions today," he said. "We need more information. I will conduct a full study of human dietary practices. Until then, all human students must eat only from the approved list. No exceptions." He looked at, "Do you understand?" Nodded slowly. "I understand, Professor." "Good, you may go." Asin left the council hall, leaned close to her. "Do you think they will let you keep the stew?" Shook her head. "I think they will study it for years." Behind them, the professors were already arguing about how to safely open the containment unit. None of them wanted to be the first to try. Professor could not sleep. For 6 days he stayed in his laboratory. He read every research paper about humans. He studied every food report from Earth. He analyzed samples. He ran tests. He made lists. What he discovered changed everything he knew about the universe. Humans were monsters. Not in a violent way, not in a dangerous way, but in a biological way that made no sense to any other species in the galaxy. Sat in his office, surrounded by floating screens full of data. His 4 eyes moved from screen to screen, reading the same impossible facts over and over. Capsaicin, the chemical from peppers. It caused pain in almost every known species. It burned skin. It damaged organs. It could kill. But humans ate it for fun. They called foods mild or spicy based on how much pain they wanted to feel while eating. This was just the beginning. Found records of something called ethanol. It was a neurotoxin. Most species used it as fuel for engines or as a cleaning chemical. Humans drank it. They called it alcohol. They had parties where they consumed large amounts of this poison and then did embarrassing things they could not remember later. Then there was caffeine. This was a natural pesticide. Plants made it to kill insects that tried to eat them. Humans extracted this poison, put it in hot water, and drank it every morning. They said they could not function without it. They were addicted to a pesticide. The list continued. Theobromine, a compound found in something called chocolate. It was deadly to many earth animals. Humans ate chocolate as a treat. They gave it to people they loved. Allicin, a chemical found in garlic. It killed bacteria, fungi, and parasites. Had tried to handle a garlic sample. The smell alone had made him sick. The chemical had burned through his protective gloves. Humans put this substance in almost everything they cooked. Leaned back in his chair. His head hurt. His heart raced. Everything he knew about biology told him that humans should not exist. But they did exist. They were thriving, and they had turned poison into cuisine. On the 7th day, Winifine Park. He found her in the student common room. She was sitting at a table with a few alien students. In front of her was a bubbling pot connected to a small heating device. The smell hit before he reached the table. It was strong, meaty, and sharp. His eyes watered immediately. "What is that?" he demanded. Looked up and smiled. "Professor, would you like to try some?" Looked into the pot. He saw red liquid, floating pieces of processed meat, strange noodles, and vegetables he did not recognize. Steam rose from the surface like smoke from a chemical reaction. "What is in it?" he asked. "Many things," said. "Spam, which is processed meat. Instant noodles, tofu, kimchi, cheese, beans. My grandmother invented this recipe during difficult times. It represents Korean survival and creativity." "Is that cheese melting into the toxic soup?" "Yes, it makes it creamy." Felt his sanity slipping away. "I need to talk to you," he said, privately. They walked to an empty corner of the common room. His hands were shaking as he held his tablet. "I have studied human food for 1 week," he said. "I have discovered things that terrify me." Listened quietly. "Your species consumes neurotoxins, pesticides, chemical weapons, and antimicrobial compounds on a daily basis. You have built an entire culture around eating things that would kill any other species in the galaxy." Paused. "This is a war crime." Tilted her head. "It is just lunch, Professor." "It is not just lunch," showed her his tablet. Charts and graphs filled the screen. "Look at this. Capsaicin tolerance tests. Humans can consume levels of this chemical that would cause permanent damage to 300 other species. Your bodies have evolved to enjoy pain." "We do not enjoy pain," said. "We enjoy flavor. The pain is just part of the flavor." "That makes no sense." Was quiet for a moment, then she spoke softly. "Professor, when I was a child, my grandmother would cook for me. She lived through war. She lived through poverty. She lived through times when there was no food. When food finally came, she learned to make it special. She used every ingredient she could find. She made it strong because strong flavors meant you were alive. You had survived." Listened. "Korean food is not just nutrition," continued. "It is history, it is memory, it is love. When I eat my mother's kimchi, I taste my whole family. I taste every grandmother who cooked before me. I taste survival." She pointed at the bubbling pot on the table. That soup looks dangerous to you, but to me it is comfort, it is home. Looked at the pot. He looked at his tablet full of terrifying data. Your species developed tolerance to poison, he said slowly, and called it culture. Yes, smiled, and it tastes really good. Are you sure you do not want to try? Stared at the red, bubbling soup. The steam made his eyes burn. The smell made his stomach turn. No, he said firmly, absolutely not. But somewhere deep inside, a small part of him was curious. He pushed that feeling away immediately. Some mysteries were better left unsolved. The paper was called Human Dietary Practices, a study in biochemical. Professor spent 2 months writing it. He included all his research, all his tests, and all his conversations with the human students. When he finally published it, he expected a few colleagues to read it. He was wrong. Within 1 week, the paper became the most downloaded academic work in 300 years. Scientists from every corner of the galaxy wanted to understand how humans had survived. News channels discussed it. Governments requested copies. The word human became the most searched term on the Galactic Information Network. And Park became famous. She did not want to be famous. She just wanted to finish her biology degree and go home, but reporters followed her everywhere. Students pointed at her in hallways. Professors invited her to speak at conferences. I do not understand, she told one day. I did not do anything special, I just brought lunch. You brought lunch that destroyed a scanner, reminded her. That is pretty special. The Academy decided to use this attention wisely. They created a new course called Human Cuisine, Observation Only. The name was important, observation only, no touching, no tasting, no contact with human food. Was asked to teach it. The first class was held in a large lecture hall. 300 students attended. They sat behind protective glass barriers that separated them from the demonstration area. Air filtration systems hummed overhead. Emergency medical teams waited outside. Stood at a cooking station in the center of the room. She wore her normal clothes. She did not wear protective gear. This simple fact made many students gasp. Good morning, she said. Today I will show you how to make samgyeopsal. This is grilled pork belly. It is a very common Korean dish. She turned on the grill. The metal surface began to heat up. She placed strips of fatty meat on the grill. The meat started to sizzle. Smoke rose into the air. Behind the glass, students watched with wide eyes. A student fainted. Medical teams rushed in to help. Continued cooking. Koreans usually eat this with garlic, she explained. She held up a small white bulb. We roast the garlic on the grill. It becomes soft and sweet. She placed garlic cloves next to the meat. The smell of roasting garlic filled the room, even with the filtration systems running at full power. A student started coughing. 2 had to leave because their crystal bodies were vibrating from the chemical compounds in the air. Did not notice, she was focused on her cooking. Now we add kimchi, she said. She pulled out a container of red, fermented vegetables. This is cabbage that has been preserved with salt, garlic, ginger, and red pepper. It has been fermenting for 3 weeks. She placed the kimchi on a separate part of the grill. The smell became even stronger, sharp, sour, spicy, and alive. Fermented foods are important in Korean culture, explained. They are full of healthy bacteria. They help digestion. They make you strong. Behind the glass, students were taking notes with shaking hands. Some were recording the demonstration with their devices. Others were simply staring in horror. Professor sat in the back row. He watched cook with a strange feeling in his chest. He had studied humans for months now. He understood their biology. He understood their chemistry. But he still did not understand how they could eat that. Meanwhile, had found a different way to share human food with the galaxy. He started a business. It was technically illegal. Human food was not approved for alien consumption, but had discovered something important. Some aliens wanted to try it anyway. They came to him in secret. They whispered their requests. They paid good money for small packages of human snacks. "I want to feel what humans feel," a young told him one night. Sold him a single chip covered in red powder. He ate it. His face changed through 15 different colors. He cried. He screamed. He said it was the most amazing experience of his life. Then he asked to buy 10 more. The business grew quickly. Sold chips, candy, dried seaweed, and small containers of instant noodles. He became known as the spice dealer among certain student groups. His luck ran out when a prince nearly died from eating a single cheese-flavored snack puff. Was arrested. He spent 3 days in the Academy Detention Center. The charges were eventually dropped because no existing law covered selling dangerous human snacks to willing alien customers. But the Academy added a new rule to the student handbook. Trade of human food products is strictly forbidden. Smiled when he heard this. A rule had been created because of him. He felt proud. As for the cafeteria scanner, it was never replaced. The Academy installed a new one with special programming. When a human student passed through, the screen would display a simple message. Human food DETCTD do not analyze. This prevented any more explosions. Professor kept his copy of Smother's kimchi in the laboratory. It sat in its containment unit on a shelf. Sometimes late at night, when he was working alone, he would look at it and wonder. What did it taste like? What was that fire had described? What did it feel like to eat something that could kill you and enjoy it? He never opened the container. He never tried the food. Some questions were too dangerous to answer. On the last day of the semester, packed her bags to return to Earth for the break. She stopped by his office to say goodbye. "Thank you, Professor," she said, "for trying to understand us." Looked at her, this small human, this ordinary-looking woman, this creature who ate chemical weapons for breakfast and called it culture. "I do not understand humans," he admitted. "I do not think I ever will." Smiled. "That is okay, Professor. Sometimes we do not understand ourselves either." She turned to leave, then stopped at the door. "Oh, I almost forgot." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small container. "My mother sent you this, a thank you gift for taking care of me." She placed the container on his desk and walked away. Stared at the container. It was sealed tight. A handwritten label said something in human language. He did not open it. But he did not throw it away either. He placed it on the shelf next to the kimchi and looked at both containers for a long time. Somewhere in the galaxy, humans were eating impossible foods, surviving impossible chemicals, and building a culture around the edge of death. And Professor, despite everything, found himself impressed. Not through war, not through technology, not through strength. Humans had proven themselves through lunch. And somehow, that made them the most terrifying species in the galaxy.